Hey everybody, hope you guys are healthy and safe. So this is the Vivo X60 Pro Plus. It is the newest phone, flagship phone from Vivo. It is only sold in China right now, but I'm pretty sure it'll be coming internationally soon enough. So right off the bat, you'll notice that the back has a logo from Zeiss. So Zeiss is a pretty reputable maker of camera lens. In fact, the camera I'm shooting right now, the Sony ZV-1, has Zeiss on its same lens too. Now, unfortunately, I do not have this phone for long because I did not get a review unit of this phone. This is on sale right now in China, and my friend Simon, who's the best phone importer in Hong Kong, managed to get it in the city, and he was kind enough to let me borrow this phone for just a couple of hours. So this is not going to be a full review. I'm literally testing this phone for the very first time right now. So a couple of things I'm gonna cover in this phone. I'm not going to talk about performance because this phone runs on Snapdragon 888, which you know it's more than powerful enough. Instead, let's look at the camera system. You know, the Zeiss camera system right here. It's a 50 megapixel sensor. It's a GN1 sensor, and it has a huge image sensor size of 1/1.3 inch. Now, the Galaxy S21 Ultra also has a very similar size sensor, around 1/1.31, I believe. But because this phone sensor has to cover that 108 megapixel lens, whereas this only has to cover 50 megapixel. So that means this one's probably gonna take in a lot more light, but we'll put that to the test when the sun sets in a couple of hours. Now let's go over the rest of the camera system. As mentioned, this is the 50 megapixel GN1 sensor. So interestingly, this no longer has that gimbal stabilization system, which was found in last year's Vivo X50 Pro. That's been done away. I think it's because this sensor is a little bit too heavy to be put onto a gimbal. Now on top of it, it's a 48 megapixel ultra wide angle camera with a 114 degree field of vision. It's a Sony IMX 598 sensor. Now this is good news because my complaints with ultra wide angle cameras in many phones, including the Galaxy S21, is that the pixel count isn't high enough and you're stretching all those pixels across a wider field of view. So that means image details are a little bit softer. Now with the Vivo X50 Pro Plus, the ultra wide angle camera should keep details a little bit better than this phone because there's simply more pixels in the photo. And down here we have two cameras for zooming. So over here it's an 8 megapixel 2x optical zoom lens, and then over here it's a periscope zoom camera. It's a 32 megapixel periscope zoom camera that can offer 5x optical lossless zoom. Now you can already tell just looking at this periscope zoom lens compared to the one on the S21 Ultra. The S21 Ultra's periscope is much larger. So that's because this is a 10x optical zoom lens. This is a 5x optical zoom lens. I'm gonna put these phones to some zooming tests in a bit. I'm pretty sure S21 Ultra is gonna win. But you know, the zooming system here should still be better than phones without a periscope zoom camera like the Xiaomi Mi 11 or any of the iPhone 12s. Now on the front, you have a 6.5 inch OLED display with a resolution of 1080 by 2376. So it's not as sharp as the S21 Ultra's Quad HD resolution, but it still looks pretty damn good to my eyes. And refresh rate is 120 Hertz. And also this small hole punch here houses a 32 megapixel selfie camera. Now let's back up a little bit. You notice the UI looks a little bit different than before. That's because this phone runs on Vivo's all-new OriginOS. So for those of you who may have watched my older videos on Vivo phones or other reviewers, you know that Vivo's previous software, FunTouch, was not that popular. A lot of us thought it looked a little bit garish and tacky, and Vivo's apparently made huge changes with OriginOS, so let's check it out. Okay, so this is how the software looks like out of the box. It looks not that far off from how most other Android skin looks like. You have, you know, a home screen like this, you swipe up for an app tray, but you'll see a little bit of difference right here in this widget. So this widget, it's two widgets that's connected by one, and it's an interactive widget that you tap here. See, so you basically have, here you can cycle through all your different music players. So for example, you can probably have Spotify on this when you have the international version, and you can immediately jump into here to play music. So that's a little bit different. Another thing that's different is when you swipe up from the upper right corner, you get this kind of, you know, control center lookalike that, let's just be honest here, there's no other way to put this, but it is basically like a copy of the iPhone's control center. I mean, look at this. So you activate the control center by swiping from the upper right corner and also the middle of the screen. But if you swipe from the upper left corner, then you bring down the traditional notification shade, which a lot of us are used to. This is just one part of OriginOS. There's actually a crazier part. If you long press on the home screen and you jump into this thing right here called Deformer, you tap this right here. Right now it's on Android, but you tap this, traveling through a parallel world. Now, boom, you have this completely different looking UI. So if you long press on the screen, you actually see what the app icons are, because otherwise they don't have description, so you have no idea what this is. You just have to tap on it, you know it's album highlight, this is weather, right here is settings, and right here, once you tap into this, you can actually customize your swiping gestures. So right now I have, obviously you tap swipe up, you can go full screen gestures, or you can choose Android navigation. Swipe from the side, it's go back for me. I think most of us would want to do that, but you don't need both sides to go back. You can tap on this right side, and now you can choose. You can choose, maybe you go to Super Card Pack right here. Now, what is Super Card Pack? So when you swipe from the side now you get to cycle through, I guess this is like a shortcut to all your payment systems. So if you're in China, you'll be using WeChat Pay or Alipay, scanning QR codes, all of that. If there's an international version of this, maybe you swipe from the sides to activate Google Pay, who knows? And you swipe from the left to still go back. So the app tray remains mostly the same, likewise with the control center, but this is a pretty radical departure of the home screen layout. In fact, this once again, what does it look like? It looks like iOS 14's layout with the different size widgets. I mean, there's no other way to put it. This is obviously iOS inspired, but I do think it looks quite unique for Android. This is different from many other Android home screens out there. Alright guys, so I have the Vivo X60 Pro Plus here along with the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra. So let's do some side-by-side video testing. So I'm just gonna record in 4K 30 for both of them, and I'm gonna walk really fast first and I'm gonna run full speed. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna run full speed now. Okay, I'm gonna run full speed now. Okay, it's dark now, so let's turn off the lights and test out the low light performance of the Vivo X60 Pro Plus. Okay, so as you can see, it's pretty dark now. I'm gonna bring up the Vivo X60 Pro Plus. So because this phone has such a large image sensor, 1/1.3, you don't even need to turn on night mode. You already get so much more light than my actual vlogging camera right here. So this is without night mode, just a standard shot. Okay, now this is the Galaxy S21 Ultra. I'm gonna try the same shot. So no night mode, just a standard 1x shot. Okay, so just looking at both of these photos on the phone right now, I can already see the Vivo X60 Pro Plus takes in a lot more light than the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra. But of course, taking in more light doesn't necessarily mean it's a better photo. You can argue the S21 Ultra is a much more accurate representation of the actual scene right now, at least to my eyes. Okay, so I've examined some of the photo samples, and yeah, basically the Vivo X60 Pro Plus, it's a really good low light camera because you don't even need to turn on night mode. You can just point and shoot and you know you're gonna get a lot of light. I think during the day, I still prefer the color of the Galaxy S21 Ultra, and the S21 Ultra has a better macro lens and obviously a better zoom lens too. Now, there are other things I like about this phone. I like the leather back. I'm kind of getting tired of glass back on every phone, so I think if you give us something a little bit different, like leather, the texture feels nice. This phone's also very thin, it's 9.1 millimeters thick overall. It feels very nice in the hand. The battery inside is 4,200 milliamp hours, so I have not been able to test it long enough really to know if battery life is great or not. It should be okay because this is a 120 Hz panel. Auto resolution isn't quite Quad HD. Now as for pricing, as I said, this phone's only sold in China right now. I believe it starts at about 5,000 RMB, which converts to, let me check. Hey Siri, what's 5,000 RMB to US dollars? Okay, so 773 US dollars according to Siri. So this one starts at about 773. For that, you get 120 Hz OLED display, Snapdragon 888, which is the best processor you're gonna find in Android this year, a really capable camera system, and a really nice in-hand feel. Now the software is not gonna be everyone's cup of tea, and to be honest, it does kind of rip off iOS a little bit too much for my liking, but I do think it looks aesthetically quite striking, different from all the other Android software out there. So anyway, that's about it for this very quick hands-on first look at the Vivo X60 Pro Plus. Like I said, this is not a review because I've only had the phone for about 2 hours. I have to return this to my friend Simon now. So if you're ever in Hong Kong and you want to check out all the latest phones, go to Simon in Mongkok, Trinity Electronics. He gets stuff before even like the actual companies here. Like he would get the Galaxy S21 Ultra before Samsung Hong Kong even gets the Galaxy S21 Ultra. So if you're interested in importing all the latest stuff, go check him out. I'll have the link to his Facebook page in the description below. So that's about it for this video. Thanks again to Simon for letting me borrow this. So I like this phone a lot, but so far after a couple of hours, I still think I prefer the Galaxy S21 Ultra and the Xiaomi Mi 11. Video on that's coming soon. So that's it for now. Thanks for watching.